87 songs down, 913 to go. And at the time of recording this, I am in fact 5 days behind, according to the countdown thing I've got on my phone. So it's 908 days, and I've got 913 left to go. So before recording this episode, what I decided to do was bite the bullet and make a couple of songs as quickly as possible. Because one of the things that I've realized that I've been doing up until now is, in terms of the lyric writing, I've not been truly splurging. I've not been really letting go of quality. And what's been super interesting is that while I can splurge without quality very easily when I'm playing notes, writing lyrics hasn't been like that so far. But what I've realized, certainly over the last couple of songs, the ones I just did today, is that is becoming easier, and I can see it's exactly the same thing. I think possibly on an earlier 1000 Songs podcast, or maybe it was in a workshop or something, I think I have said that it's harder to splurge lyrics. But in reality, I don't think it is any harder to splurge lyrics. And by the way, if you're wondering what splurging is, it's this process or this methodology that I thoroughly recommend everybody does almost everything with, which is when you're starting something, you simply do not focus on the quality of what you're making whatsoever and just let whatever comes out come out. Now, obviously, in terms of writing lyrics, because they're words, because they're specific things, it might seem that would be harder to do than with music, where it's less exact. I mean, I could write a piece of music which expressed a banana, but it would be open to interpretation, right? Whereas if I say banana, I'm guessing that most people have a fairly similar idea of what it is I'm talking about. And that, I think, is what led me to believe that splurging lyrics was harder, or might be less effective, maybe. Or I had some kind of underlying assumptions about lyrics. It was probably something to do with the fact that I'm not very practiced at lyrics. You know, I only started writing lyrics when I did my first album in 2023. So I've not written lyrics at all before. I mean, I've coached people through writing their lyrics, which has certainly helped, but I've never written lyrics before. So this is new to me. And in writing 87 lyrics, at least a verse and a chorus, and now it's usually way more than that, couple of verses and a chorus, verse, a bridge and a chorus. In writing those lyrics, what I've realized is that exactly the same principles apply. You can splurge lyrics, and if you don't focus on quality, yes, sometimes nonsense comes out, sometimes something which might not seem to mean much. But one of the wonderful things about lyrics is that they are open to interpretation on purpose. I think this may well have been where my assumptions came from about words versus music, is that obviously I do a lot of writing in my life in general, because I'm always writing emails to an email list. I'm creating presentations all the time. I'm doing workshops which involve explaining things. And obviously in that situation, you have to be clear. You have to be as clear as possible. You have to know what you mean and describe what you mean so that it makes sense to people. That's not exactly true in lyrics. And in fact, it's one of the struggles that I've had has been that a lot of my lyrics seem to be very clear. One of my favorite albums at the moment is by Julie Byrne, The Greater Wings, it's called. And it's funny because I don't usually like this kind of music, but I just can't stop listening to it. I listen to it at least once a day, sometimes more than that. And her lyrics are so affecting, but so, don't want to use the word vague exactly, but vague in a good sense. They're just so emotional. It's like their music within themselves. Their notes, they have this kind of color and feeling to them. One of the reasons for that is because they're not exact. Some of them seem unrelated. It's very kind of stream of consciousness at times. And the same is true of Tom York, who's one of my favorite singer-songwriters as well. And I've really struggled to do that. It's one of the things that I've got frustrated in the last 87 songs is that It's like I'm being too on the nose with it. And it strikes me that one of the solutions to that is for me to truly splurge the lyrics. Because one of the things I've noticed about particularly people who don't actually write music themselves, they comment on people writing music. So critics and analysts, people who tend to analyze music, they put the conscious mind on a pedestal. They put conscious thinking on a pedestal. I mean, one of the indications of it is when people are talking about artists and they go, it's absolutely amazing. They just wrote this verse like in one go. They just went up to the mic and they just sang this verse without, it just came out. They cannot understand how somebody would do that unless they thought it through, right? As if it's some kind of magical talent that has allowed them to do that. To be honest with you, do you know what I find more amazing? I find it more amazing when I hear that somebody made something beautiful and incredible by thinking it through, right? How did they manage to make something that incredible with all of that thinking? That is what blows my mind. But I find it less amazing that someone would just write a song in one go. Do you know why? Because I make music all the time, so I know how it works. And that's really what the basis of splurging is in terms of making music, and of course in terms of writing lyrics. I mean, the 2 songs that I've written just now is only 2 out of 87, but I was much more splurgy with the lyrics, and they were no worse than any other lyric. They were no worse. I mean, they weren't great, I don't know, but they were no worse, and I just let it come out. I just let whatever came out come out. So what I'm going to do now, at least until I get to 100 songs done, is see how far I can take this splurge lyric writing. Just not worry about the rhythm of the words, not worry about the rhyming of the words. Literally let whatever comes out come out. And this is one of the huge benefits to doing a project like 1,000 songs, or, if you're doing a splurge challenge, 100 splurges. One of the huge benefits of doing something like that with a big number is that no individual result matters. So you can try these things. I can say to myself, I'm going to write 13 songs where I literally do not focus on quality at all. I just free write the lyrics out because it doesn't matter. 13 out of 1,000 is virtually nothing. And what will come out of it is, well, I don't know what will come out of it, but something will come out of it. Maybe not in terms of the quality of the lyrics, or maybe it will, but certainly learning will come out of it, which I can then go on to incorporate into however I end up making these songs. And apart from anything else, it's certainly going to allow me to catch up a lot quicker with the 1,000 songs, because as I said, I'm 5 days behind at the moment, and I'm certain it will also help with that problem I was saying of my lyrics being too on the nose, too exact. So I'm going to leave it there for today, and what I'll do is I'll record another episode when I get to 100, because for some random reason, I guess 100 is some kind of a milestone. But I'm really excited to let my pen fly and really splurge these lyrics. So until then, onwards and upwards.